Andy Grudko, a security consultant, joins us now via Zoom for more on what the deployment of the SANDF really means. Thank you so much for your time on the agenda this morning. Let's talk about just quickly a background of where all of this comes from. Does this type of a decision to deploy the SANDF to power stations rely on a certain type of intelligence first before it is actually carried through?
Well, first, good morning. Good morning to you, and season's greetings to you and the viewers. Well, at this point in time, we're not sure which part of the state intelligence cluster or the security cluster this intelligence report would have come out of. As I understand it, there's a Brigadier Mahapa, who has confirmed that they are acting on the basis of an intelligence report. Now, whether this is an old report, as reports have been generated and received by Eskom's SBI, that's their Security Business Intelligence Unit, whether this is old information which there's been a lag in them acting on, or whether it's new information that's popped up, in particular since the resignation of Andre de Ruyter, we're not sure on that. But I would say that the move is one which was expected by the security industry and probably welcomed.
Right, Mr. Grudko, the timing of the deployment is rather questionable if one would look at it that way. What does this really say about the state of affairs right now?
Well, as I say, we don't know the timing of this report, if it's new information. But from my own personal experience, I can say that let's say the last 10 power outages that were scheduled for my area here, and incidentally, I'm running on a UPS right now. Hopefully it holds on. Out of the 10, I would say we've only actually had 6, despite the schedule having been raised from level 4 to level 6 a couple of days ago. So there are speculations going around that, in fact, the pressure is being reduced one way or another on Eskom, that their capacity is increasing right now, and that possibly the increase in the alert schedule from 4 to 6 has been a cautionary thing. There are people who are suggesting that, in fact, there are some political machinations behind this, where the problems which Eskom were experiencing were not just criminal, but they were politically inspired to pressurize Andre de Ruyter to leave the organization. So it's a little bit of a Machiavellian situation right now.
Right. Now, Mr. Grudko, the main reason cited for soldiers guarding power stations is sabotage. When we look at what has happened over the past few months until we get to this point now, is this a legitimate concern?
Well, certainly sabotage is a concern, and it is ongoing. The few cases that have been revealed so far have been commercially inspired. One in particular that was revealed beginning of this month, end of last month, was a maintenance person who was removing certain pressure plugs to ensure that there would be breakdowns, and that would make sure that his company continued to receive maintenance contracts. He's confessed to that and is being prosecuted for it. What would be the value of soldiers being deployed? Well, perimeter security would be to keep external forces out. We certainly don't have anything like that at the moment. So the question will be, are they going to be deploying these military staff inside the power stations? We have 15 now coal-fired power stations, and then we've got 16 additional stations which can be brought online. Are these military going to be deployed inside and sort of looking over the shoulders of maintenance people, or are they going to be inspecting the loads of coal that arrive to make sure there aren't rocks in the coal? This does seem to be a little bit bizarre. We're not facing a military threat.
So now, how sustainable is this move to deploy soldiers to power stations, and how much will it cost, and for how long is this likely to carry on?
Well, I can't speak to how much it's going to cost. Eskom have a security budget of, I believe, 3.6 billion, which is mostly, well, almost entirely deployed or spent on private security at these approximately 30 power stations around the country. There will have been a special budget, will have had to be approved based on the intelligence report. This, of course, would have been well above the level that Andre de Ruyter could have been involved in. He couldn't personally ask for military intervention. The chances are that the minister, Prabhan Gordhan, could well have approached his counterparts on the state security cluster and said, well, we've reached this situation and we think that the best option is to bring in military. There are contingency funds available for emergencies like this. Again, they are secret budgets, so we wouldn't know what they are. But there is certainly budget, and to be quite honest, our military at the moment are not really being used in productive roles elsewhere. So why not put them at the power stations?
Right, and looking at what has happened thus far, Mr. Grudko, would it be a fair assessment to say that it's now cause for concern that we could be becoming a military state?
Well, we're not like the United States where there is a specific prohibition of the conventional military being used internally. They have, of course, the National Guard, who are military who can be deployed for what we would call public order policing. We used to have a very good commando system, which were mostly volunteer military who could be deployed in circumstances like this, instead of using the conventional military who might have other functions to carry out. But they were disbanded between 2003, 2006. So we don't have the commando any longer. So if the option, if the decision was made by top level of government that we needed to deploy additional forces to those private security forces that we've got, they would not be coming from the police. The only other option would be the military. So I don't see this as being an indication of us moving towards a more militarized carrying out of government policy.
All right, Andy Grudko is a security consultant joining us there via Zoom. This follows the confirmation that, of course, the army has been deployed to a number of Eskom's power stations there.